We've got a panel on circular economies, Bitcoin circular economies. So we've got Frank, Ellie, Thulisa is joining us now. And Joseph, you joining us as well.
That might be the case, yeah. I mean, you're welcome to join us. Check, check. Are we going to share microphones?
We're missing Luthando. There's the man himself. Luthando's a bit slow today. It was his birthday yesterday.
It's your birthday today, Luthando.
Yesterday.
Yes.
That's why he's slow. He's old today. Yeah, yes, Thulisa.
Hello.
All right, Frank, take it away.
Check, check. How's everybody doing?
Check.
Yeah. All right. We're going to turn it up here. We're going to get you pumped up. I know we're getting to the end of the programming here. Thank you to everybody who's still here with us. I'm super pumped, and I'm very honored to do this. I really don't belong on the stage with legends who are doing the hard work on the ground, like the three people to my right here. And let me introduce them quickly. Luthando Ndabambi from Bitcoin Ekasi and Mazel Bay, a man who needs no introduction in this part of the world or in many parts of the world, as he's become a bit of a globetrotter in the last year or so. To his right, Ellie Smith from Bitcoin Witsand, located in Western Cape. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Got it. Perfect. And then to her right, Thulisa Sikolpati from Bitcoin Loxion. I'm not going to pronounce the region correctly. If you could do it for me, I would greatly appreciate that.
It's Bitcoin Loxion, Khayelitsha.
Loxion, sorry. Thank you so much. So yeah, we're going to talk about circular economies in South Africa. I first met Luthando, I think it was almost 2 years ago now. I had him on a podcast and I reached out to Bitcoin Ekasi, not because I wanted to cheerlead for it or anything like that. I was just genuinely curious. I wanted to know if things were working or not. You know, if they started this circular economy, was it working? And in that conversation, Luthando, you told me about how Bitcoin had changed your life and how you wanted it to change the lives of people in the community. So you've onboarded all these merchants in the last few years in the bear market. And now the price of Bitcoin is going up. So does everybody in the community think you're a genius and now think that you've saved the day?
Yeah, like a lot of the shop owners, like the two of the shop owners, one of the shop owners did save in Bitcoin since I did onboarded in 2021. So like it did get a lot of profit from Bitcoin. And also he always say thank you to me. And then you see the difference between the bank and Bitcoin. He always tell me that if that money was in the bank, was supposed he already used it long time ago, but it's Bitcoin. So he always scared to take the profit and still the same his money.
Amazing. So there's been people who are grateful for it. They're grateful for the work that you have done.
Yes. They are very grateful, and they always thank me for putting them in Bitcoin.
Amazing. Very cool. Ellie, to you, I was recently watching the video that Joe Nakamoto, I think, did when he came to visit, and it's the highest penetration of Bitcoin adoption per capita or something. How did you accomplish this magical feat?
I think the trick is in the maths. We are only 601 permanent residents.
Ah, I see.
So it was slightly easier to get the highest per capita than if you live in a city.
Fair enough. But in terms of onboarding, given that, at least according to the video and from what I've heard from everybody, it seemed like, I wouldn't say relative ease, but it seems like people were very open to it. Why was that the case? Why have so many people adopted Bitcoin in Bitcoin Witsand?
So it's definitely an advantage for us that we are small. It gives us an opportunity to build personal relationships with people and to build up trust. The social communication is also a lot easier. You know, if one person signs up, the whole town knows. For better or for worse, of course. Some reactions were quite negative. We had to slowly work our way through that. Also, by the time Joe came, we've been going for at least a year and a half. And I think he got all the good ones.
Fair enough. The opposite is true where you're working, Ellie. I'm sorry, Thulisa. From what I understand, you're operating in the biggest township in South Africa. What is it like operating on such scale or trying to get in touch with community members when the community is so large?
For me, I can only just start saying it's just the beginning. And so far, can you repeat that question again?
So what is it like? You have a very large community that you're trying to address. I know that you don't try to address them all at once, but what is it like, starting small, starting with who you're reaching now, but what is it like, I guess, with the goal of potentially sort of educating the entire community about it when the community is so large?
Okay. For me, I always go with each and every day. If someone gets to listen to you, for me, it's a win. You don't have to be convinced, but as long as you are listening to me, that gives you an opportunity to go home and think about it. And most of the time, it works. I don't have to be like, now, but I just be honest with you. Most of people, they'll be like, hey, can you repeat what you said again yesterday? And for me, it's working like magic.
Okay. I'm going to stay with you for a second, if you don't mind. I looked a little bit into the gardening program that you do. Super, super cool. And one of the things that Herman actually taught me from Bitcoin Ekasi as well was use Bitcoin to solve a problem. So it seems like you're sort of doing, I wouldn't say it's a problem, but you're doing this garden. People are earning in sats. Has this been the easiest way to onboard people, to get them to earn something for doing something that, for then producing something?
To be honest, no. I come from a community whereby people think everything gets to be delivered on a silver platter, and that's not the case. And in order for you to earn something, you need to work for it. Not every time, but there are things that you need to put an effort in it. And when I thought, was thinking about building a circular economy, I was thinking of something that can also generate the Bitcoin within the community, and also be able to earn in Bitcoin, but also be able to spend in Bitcoin and have the whole full experience. So if you are from Bitcoin Loxion, you get to experience the full experience with it, because you get to be a student, then moving from student to be a gardener, and then from there purchasing at the nearest onboarded shops. For me, that's a whole circle, and it's how you build a circular economy from where I come from. It might be different from other communities, but from where I come from, that's how we actually did it.
Okay. Luthando, as I mentioned, you've traveled around the world. You've met with other people who are running circular economies around the world. What would you say right now? What problems are you solving in Bitcoin Ekasi with Bitcoin? And what is unique about Bitcoin Ekasi amongst the other circular economies from what you understand?
What problem Bitcoin solve in Bitcoin Ekasi? You don't need to open you open a bank account. You just open your wallet, and also you can start saving for your child since it's born, and then you can start saving for your people from all another countries like Africa. They are staying in Mossel Bay, so it's easy for them because they don't have IDs to stay in South Africa. So it's easy for them to open a Bitcoin wallet and send money back home. So Bitcoin solve many problems. We are teaching kids saving. So those kids, they have their own cards, and then they can load Bitcoin anytime they want. Even they can go to our Ekasi center, use the ATM that they can exchange their fiat to Bitcoin, and then they put those money into their cards. Even if their parents, some of the parents, they are not working. So if they need money, the school needs money, maybe they function, the school teacher, they can contact us. They say, okay, this child, yeah, he needs money, but he say he have some money in Bitcoin in their cards. So can you please exchange those Bitcoin for this child? Maybe they want 100 rand. So it's easy to us to exchange for the kids, because their parents, they can't afford to give those child, because some of them, they are not working.
Okay.
So yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. You're located by the beach. Ellie, you're located by the water as well. Do you find that being, I guess, what would be considered maybe a tourist destination helps with Bitcoin adoption in any way? Are people coming to Bitcoin with sand, looking to spend their Bitcoin, kind of get their Bitcoin experience in South Africa? Is it becoming a bit of a destination at this point?
I think we're definitely growing as a destination. We have fantastic fishing in Witwatersrand, so river fishing and deep sea fishing. We also have kite surfing from about November to April when the wind blows. We've got lots of foreigners coming in for kite surfing. And I must say, last year's Adopting Bitcoin Cape Town conference road trip to Witwatersrand helped us a lot. It just enforced the fact that we are not the only ones believing in magical internet money.
So having outsiders come in sort of convinces the people that are there that there's something bigger going on outside of the community.
Absolutely. I mean, they thought we're selling a Ponzi scheme and suddenly we're full of foreigners.
Yeah. I had a similar experience. I went to visit Bitcoin Dua, and we were some of the first visitors there, and the people in the town were like, oh, okay, interesting. Yeah. I would love, yesterday I did a panel with circular economies all around Africa, and one of the most beautiful parts of it was hearing about some of the successes, the personal stories, things that have really changed people's lives. So Thulisa, over to you. Since you've been doing this, what are some of the first successes that come to mind?
It's a lot. I think we had the garden before Bitcoin Circular Economy started, and each and every day when I wake up and I go to the garden and I look at it, I'm like, yeah, we are doing something. And I think actually the most important thing is actually for people understanding that, as she said, Bitcoin is not just a Ponzi scheme. Bitcoin, it is a form of money that is for people, made for the people. And for me, I think that's the best way, that's the best success that I can. As long as you get the education, I'm okay.
Do you find, so the educational portion, from what I've heard from interviewing people from a lot of the circular economies, tends to be the hardest part. Over time, more and more people do stay for the education. What is the educational process like in your community? Are you using Me Premier Bitcoin's curriculum? Are you educating, by something that you've created? Or is it just sort of just getting people used to using Bitcoin as a currency?
So to give you a little bit of background, when we started Bitcoin Loxion, we only started with meetups, right? Where we do weekly meetups. But in the midst of those meetups, we realized that people knew actually nothing about Bitcoin. In their heads, there was like, when am I going to be rich again? So if I buy with this money, how long can I take to get my rich? And we knew that part needed to be done. That's when we got to reach out to Trezor Academy, and they help us a lot in terms of giving us a simplest way to explain Bitcoin to people, and that's where Bitcoin Loxion journey started. And then once we noticed that now there's a clear idea, we introduced my first Bitcoin diploma, that we were also assisted by Josta Glenn, who's from Bitcoin Ubuntu. And that journey, I'm not going to lie, it was an ups and downs, but it was really successful. We also managed to get a few graduates out of that program. Yeah.
Amazing. Luthando, sometimes I think about the kids from the Surfer Kids Project, the people you work with. I think also about the kids in El Salvador and how amazing it must be. Well, maybe they don't recognize yet, but how amazing it is to learn about Bitcoin at such a young age and save for the future. I know you've talked about adults in the community feel more optimistic, they can save for their children, but do the children also feel more optimistic? Are they excited about Bitcoin? Are they excited about the fact that they're saving some money even from a young age?
What makes me excited from those kids, most of the people in the township, they don't believe to savings. So also me was not believing to saving. So always we do see children of the white peoples, as soon as they finish school, they already have some money. And also as soon as they turn 18, you have to leave your parents, and then you have to find a way how to live by yourself. So Bitcoin is gonna teach those kids how to be responsible for yourself, and also how can you look after yourself without your parents. So Bitcoin is a tool that it will change those kids' life a lot.
So beyond just the idea of savings, it's a catalyst for personal change in their own life. They learn to take personal responsibility.
Yes.
Amazing. Success is over to you. I'm actually going to pose this both ways. Success or challenge. So it's sort of, I feel like with this sort of work, circular economy work, it's hard. It's really hard to be the first person out there. It's sort of fun, I'm sure, now when you're on the stage and things are sort of moving. So maybe let's go to challenge. Early days of this, you have this idea, you want to start a circular economy. Did the town sort of declare you an outcast at first? Sort of, what was that process like getting started?
So in that sense, I am incredibly lucky because I was not the first to start or initiate anything, so I'm luckily not the outcast. I was the first business to start accepting Bitcoin, which makes it interesting because I did not expect to be on a stage. But thank you for the invitation.
Did you then sort of help accelerate the process?
The challenge is definitely convincing the business owner that the reputational risk is worth it. Especially in a small community, there's a lot of backlash or negativity. There's a lot of what are you doing and why are you changing? People resist change. So in terms of getting someone to sign up, I would say spend a lot of time on why it's fundamentally good for society. And then once they have signed up, that does not mean the project's finished. It took me another year before became a maxi. Wanted to sell my house and buy Bitcoin.
Wow, okay. So that process, you're helping other people through the process, but you're going through the process yourself, which I'm sure is the same for many people in your position.
I think I have a unique view because I'm so new to Bitcoin, or at least I was so new, and I had to go through the process, and I know what I was worried about. But what is extremely rewarding to see is how we have become something to point at and say, look, they're doing it, it works. Yeah. And that is quite amazing. We had a phone call. Somebody phoned the restaurant and said, we heard what you're doing and we'd like more information. Who can we speak to? Luckily, the restaurant knew which number to give. The number was given. And this random person out of Durban phoned and said, I hear everyone in Witstrand is accepting Bitcoin, and if that is possible, surely we can do it in Durban. And by the way, we have about 6 shops. So
amazing, yeah. It's the influence, yeah. It's not to be understated. That's an amazing impact. Thulisa, I've seen you post about Bitcoin Dada. Your inspiration from Bitcoin Dada. We had Lorraine Marcel on stage here. Is the experience of doing this as a woman, building a circular economy as a woman? I think a lot of the people who have started them, they tend to be male. 2 women on stage with us. What has that process been like? Do you feel like that it has been different based on your gender, or not so much?
To be honest, for me, it was quite easy because I had a base support structure. I received a structure from Marcel, 100%. Herman, Bitcoin Ekasi, everyone at Bitcoin Ekasi would call them and be like, hey, I'm stuck here. How do I do it? Everyone would be like, okay, where do you need assistance from? So I feel like I'm running because they crawled, or I'm walking because they crawled. And I feel like I also have a shield to run on whenever there's something that I don't understand. And thanks to them, because now Bitcoin Loxion is trying to make sure that people do get the correct education and the right education to Bitcoin. And it all started with the Bitcoin adoption. And then it moved from there to Mossel Bay. And then it moved from having this kind of support structure where, you can always lean on someone else who has been there before, who's experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing it, and they've managed to overcome it as well.
That's amazing. So not only sort of the cognitive support, but even the emotional support. I've been through that. I can explain this to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Just a final question to everybody. I'll start with Luthando. Where do we go from here? How many people get onboarded this year, or what are your plans for Bitcoin Ekasi moving forward?
My plan for Bitcoin Ekasi moving forward is to see many shops in that small township accepting Bitcoin as a payment. Also, lot of the people in that township, they have a wallet in Bitcoin. Most of the people, everyone spending sets, shop owners, but some of them, they just start it's like I'm not working alone in this journey. Some of the shops, they are helping me to tell people that they must start using this thing called Bitcoin. They must start saving Bitcoin. Also, some of our guys that I'm working with, they are helping me to spread the word of Bitcoin. I wish like Bitcoin like is something else like for that township. That's what I think about Bitcoin Ekasi. And also like I wish to help more projects to see more circular economics. I went to Bitcoin Ekasi, Bitcoin Loxion last year to just help Thulisa to start up. And what I did learn, like the time like I did, Thulisa was feeling like he's doing something wrong. Like I did say, no, don't give up. You will be there. Just push hard.
Give this guy a round of applause. I love that. Yeah. He's an ambassador within South Africa, and he's a global ambassador as well. It's a beautiful thing. The future of Bitcoin Witstand, what comes next? Where do we go from here?
So what I'm very excited about is the synergy that I can see is starting to come out. So from us getting to know each other and working together, and also inspiring other Bitcoin circular economies. Just from being here the last 2 days, there's possibility of a Bitcoin Scarborough. I think Bitcoin Karoo is just around the corner. Not too long from now, we're going to have a Bitcoin Barrydale. So it is starting to, it's
becoming mimetic, right? People are seeing someone else do it, they then want to do it, yeah.
And then as she mentioned earlier, that support and that backup and knowing that we're all in this together, and there's a lot of examples that are working, that makes me excited, the exponential growth of it.
A quote comes to mind, I've said this probably a bunch of times this weekend, Jeff Booth, Bitcoin is 8 billion people in service to 8 billion people, and it seems like we're seeing that on a sort of a small scale here within the Bitcoin circular economies. Thulisa, take us home here. What's coming next for your circular economy?
Let me start off by inviting everyone. So right after the conference, there's going to be a road trip that is going to Mossel Bay, and then on the 30th of January, there's going to also be a trip that is going to Khayelitsha first of all, for proof of work, and also be able to experience the culture and what I'm also living under as a Bitcoin Loxion. And I just want to say, imagine telling someone that you're a Bitcoin educator and they ask you where, and you start pointing a shack. For them, like, hi, gege. So the plan is like, there's a space in Khayelitsha and Makaza. It's known as a youth center. It has been abandoned for as long as I know. So we are in speaking terms with the community leaders to get that space and try as much as possible to revamp it and make it maybe presentable so that we can start hosting classes, also assisting our kids in ways that we can. So ever since we started Bitcoin Loxion, there's something that we've noticed within the community. We've met a lot of high school kids because we're basically right in front of high school. And we noticed that most of them, if you would give them a laptop today and be like, press a space bar, they would be confused. And I think that having that community center built or youth center built within the community, it might help one or two people into learning how to use laptop, how technology works. So the reason it's not only based on Bitcoin Loxion being out there, but also helping one or two kids in learning how to use information technology. That's the vision.
That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way to end it. And thank you all for the work that you're doing. Please give them all a warm round of applause. Thank you, guys.